Nevada. What is happening out there, my friends in YouTube land? Yours truly, Rockin' Dave, the real deal, North Fort Myers, Southwest Florida. Of course. Where else would I be from? Besides my mother. In Chicago. 3 years ago. It's been a while since I've been on YouTube. Like maybe 12 hours. Did you miss me? Alright, my friends. Hope all is well out there. Okay, so I want to do a little bit of a follow-up video to the one I put up a few days ago pertaining to relocating and music. And first of all, I want to say that when I made a comment about people they won't really take care of outsiders as much, it's not that they won't want to help you, because of course they would like to help as many people as they can, but they have to help themselves first. They really have to help themselves before they start helping the outsiders, you know. But there are good people out there that will help you. Don't get me wrong. But you do have to pull your weight, and it's another thing that you got to remember too. When you relocate, you got to secure housing. You got to change your driver's license, especially if that's going to be your home base. And, make sure you got your P.O. box. You got to get so much lined up, my friends. And it's very smart to line up a job. And preferably a non-music job. Even if you're teaching music, that could be hit or miss because everyone's getting stuff for free off the internet. So you really got to think a little bit. Even if it's a part-time job. And the reason why I say a job outside of music, music is a want, it's not a need, unfortunately. And the reality is, if you're just going to base everything off of it, you better make sure you have at least a year's income saved up, because the reality is music is a fluctuating income. And at least if you have a year's salary saved up, that could help you float your boat. If you ask anyone that's successful in business, and then you ask them a simple question about, how do I get started? What would be your best advice for me before I take the plunge? A lot of smart and successful business people are going to tell you, save your money. At least have a year's salary saved up. Because the money you'll be making, especially if you have a business, has to go back into the business. So you almost got to really treat the music like you're opening up a business, okay? Another thing, strong suggestion is, don't spend that much money if you don't have to. And I'm referring to on gear. You don't really need high-end gear. You just need stuff that's going to work for you, that's going to stay in tune. That's important. And I'm not telling people what they should and shouldn't do with their money, but don't go on a spending spree thinking that you're the new hotshot in town and you're going to get this deal and that deal and whatever, because you got to be smart with that money. You really, really do. So my advice, before someone quits their job, go part-time. First go part-time and see how well that works. Now, when you're young, it is true you have time on your side. But here's something to think about. Let's say you want to take that plunge and you leave your job on good times, on good terms. And let's say you give it a year and it doesn't really work out as much as you thought it would work out, and then you need to go back to your old job. Well, it could be a situation where they won't be able to hire you back, because maybe they don't have that much work. So you see, you have to think about these things. And it's not that they won't want to hire you back, it's just that they're also in a financial situation where they can't. So this is what I mean. You have to be very, very careful and very, very smart. Really, it's common sense. That's really what it is. Now, let's say if you move to a town that's, known for music. Well, here's something to consider. If there are 50 clubs in that town, and I mean with banquet halls and just 50 places where you could play music, and you find out there's over 10,000 people, 10,000 musicians in that area fighting for the same job, that's a lot of competition. And it doesn't mean that you're not good. And especially if they are equally as good as you, I mean, be prepared. Be prepared, my friends. Um, Remember, there's 52 weekends in a year, and if you're only gigging on the weekend, because and let's say that's the only time that they offer music, you know what? And you got 50 clubs, and there's more than 10,000 musicians fighting for those same clubs. You know, you might not be working that much. You might, but you got to be prepared in case you're not working that much. So you see, this is not to be a downer. This is to help prepare people the realities. Again, I'm not trying to be a negative person. I'm only trying to be real. Because the fact of the matter is, these are the realities of life. Not everyone makes to be able to live off their music. And when you do, you're not just a musician, you're a salesman or a sales girl. You're selling yourself constantly. So you got to be prepared for that. And you got to have a strong, positive outlook. And you got to have a lot of drive. And it can be very tough if you don't have a positive outlook. Because then what happens, the worry look comes on your face. There is a channel I want people to check out. I saw this video the other day. The lady's name, she's a singer-songwriter in Nashville. Now she also helps with the business side of it. She does like digital marketing and business management on social media. The name of her name and her channel's name is JC Dawn Villeras. Her name's spelled Jacy. The video she posted up is the 5 things you need when you come down to Nashville. And I've had a business card and everything is definitely one of them. But the one that stood out the most is the equivalent of having a positive attitude, a positive outlook. Because she said, let's say that if you're at a social event and you're networking, and then someone asks you, or they're going to come up to you and they're going to ask you, but then they notice that your whole demeanor is like really down in the dumps, you're kind of almost depressed, they may not want to come up and talk to you. And then that could be an opportunity right there. So I know it's very tough to try to pick yourself up when you're feeling down, but it's a reality, my friends. You got to have that positive outlook as best as you can. So really what does help, what causes people to have the worry wart is that they're living off their savings, and no matter how many times they go out to get a gig, there's more doors slammed in their face than are welcomed. And the fact of the matter is, you could say, well, I could do covers in that. Not necessarily. A lot of places have been changing their format. There's a few places down here that now they have more trivia night than they do have live music. And what I mean is, there's more to trivia night when they used to have more music. Matter of fact, there's a place down the road here, about half a mile, that they have a movie theater where they're doing stage plays. And the bartender says, yeah, it's getting harder with this copyright infringement. They're coming out. And a lot of places, they don't want to pay that annual fee anymore. So, which is, I don't want to be negative, but in a way it's a good thing, because it's going to help bring original music back, where creative people who write their own songs, now they're going to have more of a shot at it. So yeah, don't quit your job if you don't have to. Try to go part-time and test those waters, and then see if you can make $100, how far you can make $100 stretch. Because a lot of these places, that's what they're going to pay. Now, here is the positive end of not quitting your job or shutting your business down and still doing your music, funding your music. If there's places you'd like to play at, now you could offer, a free gig, maybe like an hour performance. Or where they don't normally have an afternoon show, you could offer that. And if you've got solid income coming in from a regular job, now you could fund your own production, and it could be your own show. And you could just ask, hey, how much does it cost to rent this place out, and we do ticket sales. This way the club owner's not going to lose out, and you'll be able to do your own show. And if you come to that agreement that's okay, we'll try this, especially if it's in the off season for the club owner, and they say, okay, well, what do I got to lose? And you got a likable personality, that helps. No one wants to deal with someone that's difficult to work with. So those are the things that are positive, that if you have solid income, now you can fund your show, your production, your way. But Getting back to the topic, should you quit your job? I would strongly suggest not, my friends, really. Again, before you do any of that, even if you're young, you got time on your side, like I said before, things could change. Music is a fluctuating income. It be prepared for that. You're not always gonna make X amount of dollars all the time. But with your day gig, at least you could forecast out, at least a year's an annual salary. Uh, but if you want to really test to see if you'll be able to survive before you pull the trigger and quit your job, again, see how far you could live, how long you could live off of $100 a week. Try that before you quit your job, my friends, because you don't want to regret it. Anyways, my friends, I hope this video was informative and helpful, and I thank everyone for watching and all your support. Until our next video, you stay safe, you stay true, rock on, and God bless you, my friends.